Good afternoon. My name's Jonathan Canning, and I'm the Director of Curatorial Affairs at the Hyde Collection in Glens Falls, New York. And I'm here with my colleague, Barbara Bertuccio, to reveal the painting in the frame. But first, Barbara, would you like to say what you do at the Hyde?
I'm the Hyde's Registrar and Collections Manager, and my job is basically to take care of the art. I make it sure it's safe and secure, that it's in storage with humidity and temperature that's controlled, and that we've collected all the information about it so that we can disseminate it to the public.
And what are you doing in this time of social distancing when you're working from home?
I am actually writing and researching many policies. We are in the midst of some self-studies for professional organizations in the United States. And part of that is I am upgrading a lot of our policies so that we can meet professional standards.
Because the Hyde is one of a few art museums across the country that's fully accredited by the American Alliance of Museums. And so we need to have all this documentation and policy procedures in place. Barbara gets to write them. So let's move to the frame and the game. Barbara, would you like to reveal the answer?
I would love to. The answer is Mary, Portrait of the Artist's Daughter by Abbott Henderson Thayer.
And so what can you tell me about the artist, Abbott Henderson Thayer?
He was born in New England. He was the son of a doctor. He spent a lot of time as a child out in nature, and he thought of himself as a naturalist. He started a lot of his paintings, his early paintings were landscapes, and he did a lot of portraits of people as well.
And where did he work as a mature artist?
As a mature artist, he settled in Dublin, New Hampshire, his hometown, after a period of transiency where he traveled around painting portraits. He also spent some time in New York City going to the National Academy of Design to study art. And he also spent 4 years in Paris studying art as well.
Okay, and I understand you said he was a naturalist?
He was. He and his son, Gerald, ended up writing a book on natural camouflage, which may have influenced the US Army in how they manufactured camouflage during World War I.
And so I put up the picture in the frame, and I think you can see the influence of his work as a naturalist here in the painting. Because if you look at that luminous face of his daughter Mary, there's the danger that she's going to sort of float in the black void of the background. And he helps to anchor and stabilize her by those 3 simple vertical strokes of lilac that he places either side of her head. And they emphasize the front picture plane, and they bring Mary forward out of the void and secure her in her place. And Barbara, what can you tell me about this spectacular frame?
This frame was made by Stanford White, a very well-known New York architect. You can see his work in the Washington Square Arch in New York City. White made a lot of frames for his artist friends, of which this is one. And you can see this is called a tabernacle style frame, or actually it's called a Stanford White style frame because he made so many of them. You can see it's got 2 strong uprights on either side and components on the top and the bottom, which is like a Renaissance style frame that was common long ago.
Yes, and in a Renaissance home, this type of frame would have held probably an image of the Virgin and Child, which might be a useful hint in a later iteration of the game. We know that this painting was bought by Mrs. Hyde from the Thayer family about a year after the artist's death. There was a large retrospective in New York of Thayer's work, and Mrs. Hyde bought this painting shortly thereafter, and Gerald wrote to her. We have the letter in the family archives saying how delighted he was to know that his sister's portrait would be hanging in her dining room. So, Barbara, one last thought about Abbot Henderson Thayer.
His favorite models were his three children, Mary, Gerald, and Gladys.
And there we have it. So thank you everyone for joining us. Next week, Monday, there'll be a new Guess the Frame, a new reveal at the end of the day, and I'll be here with one of my colleagues from the Hyde collection. So from all of us at the Hyde, to all of you, be healthy and be safe. Bye.